Who was your pick for this overall, actually, Tolly?
For this one, I definitely had all the SPL teams out of Europe making it through into the SPL Season 4.
So it was Cyclone Elevate and I guess the Novice roster that we're seeing again?
Yes.
I think I was kind of on the same path now, but a little bit surprised by New Game Plus. They've done okay for themselves.
Yes, New Game Plus is actually looking really solid here with Murrdurr. Just been doing so solid with Repikas playing the Ratatasker. Gamehunter has been so on point as well with his Ullr.
We'll see if it can continue going on as well with the picks and bans now getting themselves ready. We can go straight into those. For the next game of the day is New Game Plus versus Elevate as well. So these two teams will recognize certain members of each. Elevate, small roster changes. New Game Plus, different story. A lot of players that have been around for a long time. For me, it sounds offensive, this, but it's kind of like the stars of the past is what this team kind of makes up.
Plus no numbers.
Plus no numbers. You got Gamehunter on here, you got Murrdurr on here, you got Repikas on here. These were the names of the past. World Championship Season 1, you know, you saw the Titan boys of Murrdurr and Repikas playing in the finals. And before that, you had Gamehunter getting pentakills at launch tournaments.
Yeah,
so
sometimes, you know, you just got to take one on the chin with that pentakill and, you know, take one and learn from
trying
there.
to rub that in. I really wasn't. Wow, that felt cruel. I hate being rude when I don't mean to be rude.
You know what?
I like being rude, but I just don't like being it when I don't mean it.
You know, it matters how you bounce back from your losses.
That's the main thing. That's the main thing. You got to do that sometimes. And, well, New Game Plus will be looking to bounce back a little bit after a couple of troublesome games for them so far. They've gone with the Khepri pick first of all. Over Sylvanas, over some of the other gods we've seen being predominantly picked, like the Apollo. Very surprising to see they've chosen the Khepri here.
The Khepri has great lane clear level 1. Obviously, once he gets some levels, he's going to be able to pull people out of position. So even if you do pick Sylvanas into the Khepri, we saw what Half Devil was able to do. He was struggling rather in the mid to late game ever so greatly once he got rooted into the pull. Couldn't get away from the damage from the Ra either.
Well, Hercules has been locked in for New Game Plus. We've seen this a couple of times so far today. Starting to rise back into the meta, obviously due to the changes of mitigate wounds as well. Has really seen a rise in popularity for this warrior.
Haven't seen Thanatos too much so far today, at least in the relegations. No. Normally, there's been other options. Ratatasker was being played most so often for Repikas, but with this ban coming from Elevate, electing to go for the Thanatos over the Thor. Really great early game pressure for the Thanatos.
Sylvanas. No, it's going to be the Odin, interestingly
enough. It makes sense because now you're going to have to try to force out the Thanatos ultimate, and you can lock down this Hercules and try to kill him as soon as possible. But the Khepri, Murrdurr's going to have to be very careful about how he throws out his ultimates because he definitely wants to keep anyone up alive that's going to get inside that cage.
Very, very good opportunity for them there. Obviously, all three of those cannot escape that ultimate, other than Thanatos, who can ult out with his own ult. But then if you force in that, that's not too much of a bad issue, is it?
Because you want to use your Thanatos ultimate to execute somebody and continue the team fight. Get those cooldowns after you execute somebody and keep on the pressure. But looking at the banned secondary, Elevate going to take away some mages, whereas New Game Plus electing to take away some junglers.
Yeah, so a couple of the junglers down. Batz is available. Fafnir going to be the choice for Elevate here, and Dardez in the dual lane to combine with the Apollo of Jermain more than likely. And then you've got New Game Plus now looking for their final 2 picks. They need a Hunter for the dual lane at least, unless they're going to run some shenanigans, and then a mid laner as well.
Izanami is open, Ullr is open. You know, Gamehunter has been playing this god all day today. So it's going to be his 3rd game in a row on this god. We're going to see what other god that they're going to lock this in. It's going to be their mid Scylla pick. Decent amount of setup here between the Khepri and potentially the Hercules, but have to be so careful about the communication between the pull pushes and the Scylla root crush combinations.
Definitely. Elevate now going to pick up the Honbass as the final pick with all those jungle bands of Susana and Wheelix and Ratatoska. Kind of makes sense to see the Monkey come back into the jungle once again. Combines pretty well with an Odin ring as well if you get them all trapped inside.
Absolutely. You want to be able, whoever you trap inside the Odin cage, you can even use half of your ultimate halfway into the cage, so that way you can zone people away from trying to rescue that person. So for example, you can maybe use your ultimate on Honbass just to deter Murrdurr on the Khepri to not find the ultimate on whoever's trapped in that Odin cage.
Let's go into game and see how this one plays out. New Game Plus versus Elevate. On paper, totally looking at these two teams, so who you got here?
Honestly, I got to give it to New Game Plus here. They are on a momentum streak here.
So is that off players, not off picks?
Off of players.
Off of players?
Off of players, I got to give it to New Game Plus here currently. They're just been on fire so far today, sitting at 2-0.
Well, right now, New Game Plus going to walk forward into the enemy jungle on the left-hand side here. 4-man grouping, obviously with a Thanatos and those death sides, followed by a Scylla crush. It's a lot of damage. Dardez knows what's up, though, and hammer times through the wall. However, Gamehunter axes Jermain a question, and Kero follows up beautifully there for a bit of poke. Not enough to kill anyone, but it is going to slow them down is the key here, because Jermain wants to get back to base to be able to get here in time for minion spawn. As you can see, the minions are already coming down lane, and that poke is actually very big to slow down the push power in the early game.
And because of the build here coming out of Jermain, he went for Death's Toll short bow, so he doesn't have much gold for consumables, whereas you look on the side here
He's out
of
consumables.
Gamehunter, it's just... It's still there. 2 health potions and 1 mana pot.
You're right, Tully's going to play this very well, and Gamehunter's axes have been pretty solid so far. A little bit far forward here, though, and however, Dardez returns the favor of missing mobility there just to even things up a little bit. Bluestone does come into play in terms of clear. Jermain chose poke there over going for the minion wave, which gives full dominance of lane to New Game Plus now, who can look to invade the jungle.
Goodbye, purple buff for Elevate. We see Murrdurr and Gamehunter grouping up. They already got the 2 little minions. The wave is now entering the tier 1 tower, so even after this purple buff, they can even go on the offensive route if they wanted to, but instead looking to play super safe, going to go through the midway point, and with this purple buff, they can easily win this exchange, especially considering the fact that they're both level 2.
Definitely a wise idea, especially in seeing the elevating mid laner, Blizzard and Faeles were both rotating to the left-hand side jungle there. The call from New Game Plus would have let them know what was going on, but now with the wave pushing again,
goodbye red buff
into the jungle and check once more. I'm really surprised that Elevate are going to the right-hand side here.
They want to be able to pick up their own speed buff instead of collapsing on the red buff. That could have been a 4-on-2 in their favor and shut down Murrdurr and Gamehunter in the process, but now instead going to grab the red buff for Gamehunter, finding the stun onto Dardez, but the jump away is going to be good.
Gamehunter loves to fight, and he's having a good old scrap right now, forcing Jermain back, leaps on his face, beads used by Jermain, but Gamehunter gets first blood for New Game Plus once more. His ult is something to watch out for.
This is so scary, and this is something that he's also played in the solo lane before. He's been known to play some hunters before, whether it was Ullr, whether it was the Kronos as well, and now with this first blood here, he's getting closer and closer to finishing off that Transcendence. So having Bluestone Pendant with Transcendence, once that gets complete, his abilities are going to be absolutely chunking Jermain here, and I love this play here from Gamehunter, just last hitting to make sure that Jermain doesn't get as much farm as possible.
Now, I've not really had a chance to speak about mid lane yet, but Kero's itemization choices at the start is very interesting. He's gone for the Sands of Time for the cooldown reduction, the mana regen, but he's investing very quickly into penetration here.
It seems that he's going to go for the Divine Ruin as early as possible, trying to limit the healing options from BlizzardFX.
Is it really that viable, though, Tully? That's the real question. Now, obviously, it's early in the day, so you can't really say no, but at the same time, it's an awkward one to look at on paper and go, is this wise?
I mean, it still gives you a lot of damage. It has 80 magical power, it gives you 10 magical penetration, and as well as limiting the heals by 40%. But you're investing 2,400 gold into such an item, and now you're not going to have the mobility from boots, for example. So you have to pick and choose what you really want to do, especially if you're going to rush it this early on. The sustain from Ra, considering he's maxing out his beam over his heal anyway, you're not really maximizing the effects out of Divine Ruin quite yet.
Well, No Numbers in the right-hand side been recognized as probably one of the potential stars of the future, No Numbers, and he's up against MoGoW, who's very consistent on the Odin, one of his go-tos. Driving Strike did not go through at the right time, and there's the ring drop. No Numbers in trouble now. Boulders early. Can't avoid the Fear No Evil. No Numbers takes a tumble, just as I was saying. He could be a star of the future. MoGoW reminded him he's in the present now.
Wow, you have to respect the Odin cage. You use your escape. You got to respect the Elders, absolutely. And just like that, the new blood taking a spill. MoGoW going to be able to find an assist here with a rotation from Faeles. And that's so important here for a warrior versus warrior matchup, to respect the junglers as well. On one side, you have to worry about the Hunbat's gank, but on the other, there's a Thanatos.
Yep. Big Thanatos that can cause a lot of problems as time goes on. Obviously, the shield from Odin, part of the Bird Bomb combination, can prevent damage, but it can't prevent executions. One of the things that Nike struggles with too. She likes to use that at low health. Thanatos' executions do come through, and that's one of the resurgence reasons we've seen Thanatos so much.
As well as the Thanatos also synergizing very well with a Khepri of his own. So whenever he does dive that backline, he's going to be relying on Callus, or Murrdurr rather, to be able to kind of get him out of danger.
Well, the purple buff was secured there by Elevate, going to give Dardez and his teammates a little bit more penetration up against New Game Plus now as the red buff stolen away one more time by New Game. They keep the pressure on for now. It's just under 1,000 gold lead. And Gamehunter with that one kill for himself on the left-hand side is pretty strong to give him dominance in this lane. This goes back to the original fight, Tolly. Whereas on the right-hand side, Faeles is the one to probably really look at the side of Elevate after looking for that kill early on and finding it.
Fire Giant Elementals was being taken by New Game Plus MoGoW. Still kind of just spotted that out, but yet again, right around the corner is Faeles. If the driving strike is used in the solo lane, that is going to be another kill on the right, and that's exactly why Faeles is just waiting around the corner.
And don't forget, if MoGoW gets him in the ring and they die, he just gets stacked to that passive. Faeles credited for the kill again, and it's basically Camp No Numbers Day right now. However, New Game Plus looking to answer back with a goal for you, but Repi's very low there. Luckily, he had a bit of
reset it!
But Blizzard will clean up Repikas, and now the storm is here, because in the sky, Jermain's thinking about going in. Instead, they'll go to the Gold Fury.
New Game Plus, though, unfortunately leashed the Gold Fury. The Snipe found the kill, and now with the rotation here, the Gold Fury going in the way of Elevate. The ultimate from Murrdurr, going to buy him some time. He's going to respawn right in place. Everybody from Elevate going to collapse and find an additional kill.
Get a kill and then get out. They could have looked for Gamehunter there, but instead, everybody in Elevate disengaged. Good play from them to get themselves a gold lead now for probably one of the first times in the game after a small mistake by New Game Plus around that Gold Fury.
Now red buff onto Gamehunter. He's still going to apply a lot of pressure on the left-hand side. He doesn't have the Transcendence finish quite yet, but with a level 6 Apollo, this is still something that New Game Plus can heavily lean on, this dual lane pressure that they've established from the early game.
Yeah, definitely true indeed. There's Jermain actually quite far behind that of Gamehunter in the actual net worth charts. There's around 600 gold difference, and that's including Jermain getting that Gold Fury, so it just shows how much of a deficit Jermain was at in this lane early on. Now, he is Apollo, though, and in the grand scheme of things, I would say I'd rather have an Apollo on my team if it goes to late game over an Ullr, just because of the amount of burst damage.
But the question is, can the Apollo sustain this early to mid-game pressure coming out of Gamehunter once that Transcendence does finish? Because that's going to be a never-ending hail of arrows. The bladed arrow as well, just going to be flying out there in Jermain's direction. There might be having to be made some early rotations just to keep that dual lane in check.
Right hand Elementals contested there between the two. A lot of more focus to the right-hand side now. The Gold Fury is down by both teams here. Obviously, with the Oracles being down on the left too, it's all around the right-hand side. And I think Repi here is just trying to look after No Numbers a little bit.
He wants to try to find some plays to keep No Numbers safe. We saw what he was able to do with the Hercules in the earlier stages of the day, but now he's been struggling because of the double rotations from Faeles. And just like that, Jermain, without sustain, electing to finish off Ichabod even before Boots, even before Devil Gloves, trying to outbox this Ullr.
Gamehunter's got to be careful though, because there was a rotation coming and now he's in an awkward spot. Fantastic snipe from Blizzard just with the tip. Cleans up enough of the damage on Gamehunter to allow Jermain and Dardez to pick up the kill. That puts Gamehunter on the back foot again.
It's never a 1v1. No Numbers on the solo lane side, Gamehunter on the dual lane side. You have to respect the potential rotations. The members out of Elevate have been abusing the illusion that it's only a one-on-one.
Here's the big issue with Gamehunter here. He's so used to solo lane in the grand scheme of things that a one-on-one is normally a true one-on-one with maybe one person extra turning up. The difference is in duo lane, if you try and take a one-on-one, it's probably a 4-on-4 and you just don't realize it. The Hunters just are the ones that end up starting things off.
And with that death onto Gamehunter, Jermain actually catches up in levels at level 9, and Murrdurr's going to be trying to hold away for him at least a little bit longer so he can maybe hit that level 10 power spike so he can continue building up those Transcendence stacks, which is also important. Now, Oracle's going on the way of Elevate, having the vision around the Gold Fury.
And it's not just for the vision as well. I mean, the vision means there's 50 gold saved on a ward in that area, but at the same time, it also gives them a little bit of golden experience, once more some added experience available to them on the map a little bit more, and just continues to keep the gold lead in their favor.
About 1,300 in the way of Elevate. They're up 5-1 currently. Experience not too much to talk about currently. MoGoW using his ultimate, almost trying to catch out Repikas, but not quite on the mark there. Speed buff making him ever so quickly. And look at Gamehunter. He's not done. He always wants to box.
He's looking to box as hard as he can because Jermain right now is a little bit down in terms of build. Transcendence is halfway stacked right now, but it's Boots and Iqbal actually from Jermain, and those in-hands will shred a lot more than Gamehunter's.
Oh, yeah, they hurt.
And Gamehunter just went, yeah, I think I'm not going to do that anymore.
No, not anymore either. But look at this. Dardez, he's going to find the jump. But look at the rotation here from the Thanatos. Gamehunter, he's barely able to escape the ultimate. Another jump and the revive from Murrdurr, keeping Gamehunter alive.
And now Dardez in trouble. No leap away to get away. I'm a monster and execute used at the same time. 2 ults not really needed, but 2 were used. Now Jermain was there to support. He's a big old side to the head. But Kero walks around the corner to Faeles. The monkey toss is good. Thanks a lot, Murrdurr. Getting me killed, says Kero. What a crazy engage over in the left-hand side.
1 for 1, trading your support for the mid laner. Gonna favor out Elevate in the long run. And now Golfier still gonna respawn in about 40 seconds. That's gonna be the next point of contention here. Also, the Portal Demon is gonna respawn for the first time here right about now.
Do you remember me saying a minute ago when Hunters start having a little boxing match, instead of a 1v1, it turns into a 4v4? That's pretty much what happened on that side, because then Dardez turns up, goes aggressive, gets joined by his baby, and there's 4 members of New Game Plus there as well.
Jermain was able to win the boxing exchange earlier on because the fact that he also had boots 3, whereas Gamehunter only had boots 2 at that time, also only having about 27 stacks on that Transcendence, so not able to really connect onto both abilities. Had Gamehunter connected the axe, that would have set up the other 2 abilities, and which is why Ullr is not very heavily prioritized because he's more of an ability-based god than an in-hander.
And the big key there is what you see from Gamehunter is he went straight back to base after dying, picks up 2 wards and positions them in the lane, and he's like, right, I am not going to fight you unless I don't see anyone near these wards. I'm lying, I'll 2v1, let's go.
Gonna always look for the poke. He has the mana, he has the MP5. He's doing such a great job at not only juking out the ability from Dardez, but connecting on his own. So if he can continue that pressure over and over again, he'll eventually whittle Dardez down hard enough to be able to look for a play off of it.
Well, the Gold Fury, it has respawned once more, and obviously Elevate got the last one here. You can see MoGoW was doing a bit of proxy farming up against no numbers in the solo lane there, just to make sure that if he is needed, he can teleport across, and no numbers would have to stick around. But speed buff being looked at on the right-hand side, Faeles will secure his own speed. Faeles, I'd say he'd been quiet in one way, but he's not been. I actually called him Ice Baby earlier, so I apologize for that one. Too many monkeys today.
Absolutely, but look at this. Repikas right around the corner at the ultimate from Repikas. He blinks and Kero's so low. The ultimate from Khepri is going to revive him with the monkey bounces, and Thanatos landing right back down, but Kero falls first.
And Repikas is stuck in a ring, and if you put a ring on it, you ain't going nowhere, boys. Faeles does manage to fall down to Gamehunter, though, but Murrdurr, the Scarab, is burnt to a crisp, as meanwhile Jermain picks up Gamehunter on the back. Huge win for Elevate. The Golfier under threat, and round the corner comes no numbers, no ultimate available to stop this. I don't think it's even worth it.
No, it's definitely not worth it here. It's going to be 4 members dead, and it's going to be another Gold Fury for Elevate, extending their goal lead now to about 4,000 gold. Same thing goes with the experience, and the later this game goes, this is going to be really problematic for New Game Plus because of the sustain from BlizzardFX. They're going to start grouping up as 5, really abusing that factor.
And more than anything there, that engagement really comes back to Faeles. Like, that Fear No Evil was the big telling point in the ultimate Tully, and he cleaned up the whole thing because of it.
He was level 12 at the time and had time to back to get the Blink Relic, whereas we see Repikas, he wasn't level 12 yet, still only sitting on the beads, and every single relic wasn't even used on the side of New Game Plus during that encounter. I think they were all on cooldown.
Could be in a bit of trouble here against Repikas. Jumps away from the silence, luckily enough, otherwise it could have been a bit of doom and gloom there for Fafnir, but he'll get away for now. Tier 1 tower falls, as you said, and gold lead just continues to stretch a little bit more.
Only a tier 1 tower. It's not the worst thing in the world, especially considering it's the Gold Fury side tower. If it was your mid tower, you have a little bit more pressure to have to worry about warding.
So Tolly, we thought it was going to be Divide and Ruin on the side of Kero. It's not. Spear of Desolation as first main item after boots. How are we feeling about this?
This is a really expensive item to go immediately after the boots. So for 2,800 gold, you're going to get 80 magical power, 20 penetration, 10% cooldown reduction, and on top of this, the passive also changed from Season 3 to Season 4. So now, if you receive a kill or an assist on an enemy god, all of your cooldowns are reduced by 1 second.
So it's a great ability, it's a great item, Tolly, but it is expensive to get. It's got pretty much all the stats a mid lane mage wants, but is the investment worth it for the stage of the game?
At this point in the game, I would have liked to see more options here instead of the Spear of Desolation, because you could have even went Chronos Pendant to get a lot of... Like, if you're going to invest that much gold, Chronos Pendant would have helped you out a little bit more in terms of spamming your abilities.
True, but then the way I'm looking at it is, like, as a mage, you want penetration, you want power, and you want cooldown, right? And this item gives all 3, so is that really a bad thing? Is it more about curves of damage is the issue we're looking at here?
It's also about the MP5 on Chronos Pendant, potentially, because the fact that Murrdur's going to be setting you up. Chronos Pendant gives you a little bit more cooldown reduction. On top of that, the passive is going to guarantee you cooldown reduction, whereas the passive of Spear of Desolation is not always going to work.
They caught two in the jungle there. They both escape, but they were looking for the Portal Demon on the right-hand side there, Elevate, and that was a lot of escape used there by New Game Plus, but they didn't use any relics. Luckily enough, MoGoW just chunked so much of the health.
No Numbers is in trouble, having to use his ultimate defensively. Fear no evil, the snipe connects as well. The ultimate from Khepri keeping him up a little bit. They're going to look to dive. This Faeles. It's not done yet, but a great driving strike preventing the overhead smash.
No Numbers just showing how good mitigate wounds can truly be there. He took a lot of damage from that and immediately regened it all back up. No longer is it a tick heal over time. It's burst on the initial and burst at the end. However, the Portal Demon is sieged again by Elevate.
Repikas is right around the corner. He gets spotted by the ward. It's going to force out the reset because it's both Kero and Murrdurr right around the corner as well. Like you mentioned before, those mitigate wounds changing a little bit since before. Now in Season 4, whatever damage you took in the past, you're getting that burst heal immediately after.
Well, the Portal Demon started again, and at the moment, Jermain is being pinned under the tower by Gamehunter on the left-hand side, making sure Apollo cannot rotate to this fight if he wants to, which will make it a straight 4v4, but Gamehunter forcing Jermain back now means that he may be able to get some damage onto this tower.
Now it's Ikavile being finished for Gamehunter, so now he can actually start trading effectively against the Apollo Audacity stacks. The Poison Star has come online for Jermain, but he has to guarantee a crit to start winning these trades, to get that 20% movement speed reduction, to get that 20% damage reduction as well onto Gamehunter.
Left-hand side, New Game Plus set up around the left-hand half. He's here. Gamehunter got the tower down to half, which is pretty good, but maybe he oversteps his mark until he hit the monkey in the face with the axe, and now the Faeles is just going to have to walk away.
Oh, the ultimate is coming.
This is too deep and a little bit too dangerous there. Luckily enough, though, Faeles recognized it before he carried on.
Faeles, I think, wanted to blink and use his ultimate there, which is why Jermain went into the sky to use his ultimate just to cut the distance a little bit further, but it's actually Repikas that's going into the sky instead.
Hovering Death, looking for a target, will be Jermain. A monster hits, but the Aegis absorbs all the damage, and back to Blizzard they go. Earthbreaker not going to hit Jermain and pull him away from the tower. Elevate escape with their lives for now.
Still forcing out the Aegis was important, and the purification beads on the side of Jermain, so I have to kind of wait for those ultimates to come back, because those ultimates will be available before those two relics for Jermain, and that's a great opportunity now for Gamehunter to also maybe look for an offensive play in the dual lane once Jermain heads back in there trying to defend that tier 1 tower.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Jermain's in a bit of an awkward spot for the next couple of minutes with no relics, no ultimate available to his name. He will have to just sit back and look for stuff in the jungle where he can. Luckily enough, though, the jungle is just respawning, so it's not all doom and gloom for the Hunter.
Still down a little bit of gold, currently about 5,500 gold, heading into the 17-minute mark. Still struggling experience as well. Elevate are doing a good job keeping their lead thus far.
Yeah, and that's the main thing, is keeping the lead after they managed to develop it in the first place, after being at the deficit before the pre-10-minute mark for the most part, especially with how things began. GoldFury respawned here, and Gamehunter should be hearing and sensing something's going on. But the burst is really good right now. Gamehunter's got some clear here, but it's not going to be enough to stop Elevate, who will take a free GoldFury, as meanwhile Dardez was keeping everybody else busy in the mid lane.
That's their third GoldFury of the game. Relatively free. It was BlizzardFX having the Searing Pain option there. Now you have to...
left-hand side onto Gamehunter. Ice Baby finds it. Beads were very late by Gamehunter, but the axe is better. Jermain so beautiful over the corner of the wall. Will clean him up though. Nice little play, even though there was a ward there. You can't really answer that.
No, not at all. Now that's a 40-second respawn timer for Gamehunter that can easily be exploited here for Elevate. They're going to start grouping up on the left-hand side. It's going to be defended by Repikas on the Thanatos pull. Onto Dardez doing a little bit of damage follow-up with Kero, but it's not enough.
Yeah, Sikkim did not find a home there, and if it did, it could have been a different story for Blizzard overall. Left-hand side, Repikas defending against two members here. Faeles clearly ate a death scythe there, so he's kind of changed his mind about hanging around with the rotations coming in from both teams. It is allowing MoGoW to get a bit more free farm on this right-hand side up against no numbers.
The team from Elevate that really wanted to just grab the way from every single lane instead of grouping up as 5, taking advantage of the fact that Gamehunter was dead for 40 seconds, also having the rod sustain. I'm surprised they elected to forgo pushing down at least tier 1 mid tower during Gamehunter's respawn.
Can we just take into account the New Game Plus in this game? They got off to a great start, but they've only got got 3 kills right now. We've not really thought about the kills and how well they keep going in favor of Elevate. But 2 of those kills, I believe, was Gamehunter in the early stages.
Yes, Gamehunter has just been doing on fire in the early level 1/2.
Yep.
But then after that point in time, it was all Elevate throughout. Faeles has been able to really take advantage of no numbers in the earlier stages of the game in that laning phase once MoGoW threw out the cage.
And now with mid lane as well, you can see Kero working towards what's more than likely going to be Soul Reaver, I guess. A little bit late for the Book of Thoth, I'd say, overall here, but he could go for that too. Very expensive build in the grand scheme of things, but if he pulls it off, it's a lot of damage.
That's what you really want out of your Scylla. You got to have the damage, honestly, but you have to rely more on Murrdurr setting you up for that damage.
And right now, the setup's not really been on point for the time being. Gamehunter and Jermain trading in the left-hand side. Good driving strike from no numbers, puts Dardez in an awkward spot, but he'll lead back to safety as Jermain is still losing the trade on the left, meaning Gamehunter is getting a lot of free poke onto a tier 2 tower, which is finally being responded to by Elevate.
Elevate cannot let that go down. They are actually up, but they're losing in the 1v1 encounter. Gamehunter is doing such a great job winning these exchanges, but MoGoW was thinking about making that rotation underneath, but Gamehunter's not deterred quite yet.
Mid lane, no numbers, looking for a driving strike, doesn't find Blizzard there thanks to a quick Beads coming out from him. So Beads was traded off there, and still Gamehunter hanging out in the left-hand side.
He's just not afraid. You got to force him to get out of your lane. You cannot just have one person there. Jermain, despite him being up 2 levels, Gamehunter is just on point connecting these abilities. No numbers, looking for a pull. He's not going to connect, and now around the corner is Faeles and Repikas looking for some kind of action.
Monkey Toss did hit no numbers there, but it didn't bounce as he was too far away from the rest of his team, so that allowed the disengage to happen for the time being. Otherwise, I think if Faeles did hit Kero there with that Monkey, he probably would have jumped in.
He wants to go in. He has the blink available. He can also, he's trying to maybe go into the mid lane. He is very healthy. Where is he going to go? He's landing back down onto the purple. He pushed a wave, and now he's going to steal away the purple. Very small and marginal victory here for Jermain.
There's a bait on the right-hand side for Repikas, though, as the speed buff was available for him to go and pick up. But Faeles is waiting, and that forces Beads and Aegis out of Repikas. Repi looking to turn it around onto MoGoW now, who just leaps away. It does mean he gets his speed buff, but it's a bit of a clown fiesta.
Absolutely. These teams are just looking for anything at this point, heading into the 21-minute mark, trading out Jungle Ultimate for Jungle Ultimate, now forcing out both relics for Repikas. That's going to be easy target now for Elevate, especially Faeles could eat Blink and use that Batz ultimate.
Yeah, totally. Realistically, the grand scheme of things right now, the problem is that nobody really knows what the meta is, what they should be doing. Instead of defaulting to which is objectives for the most part, towers, they seem to be looking for the kills to get the bigger objectives across the middle of the map in the jungle.
It's all a push and pull game. You know, if you push them on the left, you're going to get pulled backwards on the right. You know, if you're going to take the Gulf here, you're more than likely going to give up the Portal Demon or vice versa. So that's something that both of these teams needs to evaluate and figure out what's a higher priority for them at a certain stage of the game. At this point, I would definitely say Portal Demon for Elevate. They're up already almost 8,000 gold. So if they get the kind of mobility that the Portal Demon provides you, they're just going to be keep ping-ponging into the action and then eventually knock down that middle tower and really start exposing the game.
Well, the Hunters are really starting to hit critical mass now in terms of their damage output, thanks to the items they have. You can see Jermain did pick up Assy here for some lifesteal finally. It's the first time we've seen some lifesteal in either of the Hunters in this game. And that Assy will allow him to box a little bit more frequently now, Tolly, and win some of these trades to get the Gamehunter.
With the builds normally being a lot of the Poison Star, Wind Demon style, a lot of hunters have been foregoing the lifesteal, so Assy is the cheap, efficient lifesteal item whenever you can't build up the Devil Gloves.
Did he not crit once then? I don't think I saw a crit number on that Gold Fury one time whatsoever.
For the Batz?
No, for the Apollo.
Oh, for the Apollo there.
I mean, for both of them, I guess. I didn't see a single crit number, so I'm guessing neither of them.
I mean, that's just bad RNG.
That's RNG. Well, at least it works out in a Gold Fury that happens and not in a fight.
That's what it's all about. You sacrifice the bad RNG during the Gold Fury, so the PvP action, you're on point.
Yeah, that's the main thing. But for the PvP, make sure you get those big crits when you need a Murrdurr in mid lane, looking to pressure MoGoW, hanging around the side on the right. Bit of an awkward game right now, even though Elevate have got a monstrous lead. 10,000 gold is huge at 23 minutes. It doesn't feel like they're really doing anything, really.
They're going to start grouping up, honestly. At this point in time, the time is now to start taking advantage of it. Like we mentioned before, time and time again, BlizzardFX with the sustain. The monkey bounces onto Kero. Going to force out the Sentinel under the tier 1 tower. Great reaction by Kero.
Good work, though, from Faeles. And there's a blink in from MoGoW. He really wants Kero knowing it's down now. Kero traps in the ring. Bird Bomb forces the Aegis. Smite from Blizzard didn't find a home either. Repikas hovering death down onto Faeles, who has to leap away, forcing him his beads as well. Dardez and the other support turn up as well in terms of Murrdurr, and in the end, it's No Numbers that's going to take a little bit more poke, but in the jungle, the Hunters are boxing once more.
No Numbers taking a lot of poke, though, in the mid lane. MoGoW has to retreat under safety, and like you mentioned before, Gamehunter and Jermain, they're looking to constantly battle each other. It's a level 20 Apollo, afraid of a level 18 Ullr.
And Gamehunter is winning the boxing trade, though, to get to the tower for the extra damage to clear that tier 2 out. So Gamehunter, even though he's behind, he's doing a great job of keeping Jermain busy, but now Gamehunter's going to be careful, because in comes reinforcements, or at least they're trying to.
We could potentially even see the ultimate from Jermain trying to get to this mid-game team fight here. Murrdurr is going to find the pull onto Dardez, but a nice stun onto Kero, and now this is where the action is happening. Jermain is in the sky.
He's in the sky, but I don't think he's coming down just yet. Elevate still scared of committing to the tier 1 tower. Kero's still alive. Jermain's got an infinite mana pretty much for the time being. I think he's just having a nice wild ride around, and he's going to bend up back at the same tier 2 where he started.
Yeah, I don't know about this play coming out of Jermain. He might as well have just rotated onto this tier 1 tower, but the thing is, like, if you're going to give up the tier 2 tower on the left, you're also going to lose the Phoenix, because Gamehunter is not retreating, and then Jermain is going to either have to severely outplay Gamehunter, or somebody's going to have to rotate and stop this guy.
He gets the tier 2, but Gamehunter will pay with his life overall. The trade is 500 gold, sorry, 1,500 gold, I guess, for them. So 500 gold each for the team.
But the question is, what does Elevate get during this downtime from Gamehunter? They're pushing down the mid tier 1 tower. Murrdurr's going to find the pull onto MoGoW, but caging in 2, and the ultimate zoning away, finding Kero. The ultimate was not in time.
Hovering death, looking for the cleanup, not going to find it. Repikas misses. Faeles does fall to No Numbers, though, in the driving strike combo that came through. Tier 1 tower in the mid still stands. New Game Plus is still being pressured. Left-hand side, however, Jermain has done what he needs to do. After killing Gamehunter, he's trying to apply pressure to the left, relieving pressure on the mid.
And that's why we see Repikas making the rotation on the left-hand side. Nobody's really keeping up with him. And in mid lane, MoGoW finding the slow onto a few. We're going to see more split pushing from Jermain on the left. The heals from BlizzardFX keeping everybody alive, but there's just not enough damage onto this tower without a hunter.
And they'll at least get one tier 2 tower, maybe a couple of kills too. Murrdurr's very, very low hit. No Numbers low on mana. Left-hand side, Jermain takes the tier 2. Bird bomb from MoGoW.
He wants to find Murrdurr. The shield is popped. The jump is not being used quite yet. Gamehunter has respawned, but it's actually Dardez that finds Murrdurr. So tier 2 mid falls, tier 2 left as well. Repikas getting caged in like a little bat that he is, but not going to be able to chase down anybody else.
Not for the time being, no. Elevate did the right thing there overall. Gamehunter falls. Granted, he gets the tier 2, but Jermain stays there in that lane. Instead of rotating to the fight in mid, to pressure that lane as well. And because they win the fight in mid on top of that, it works out so well. Faeles is playing so well.
Faeles was very fortunate that he didn't get executed right off the bat, because then Repikas would have been able to snowball that team fight very heavily on his team's favor. So overall, had that execute happened, we could have potentially seen New Game Plus turn this around.
No evil. The portal goes the way of New Game Plus, and immediately Faeles has to dip away. This is going to buy a bit of time, Tolly, now, because Elevate have got to be very respectful of this portal and the fact that New Game Plus could come through at any time.
Well, we could potentially see a little trap by Elevate as well if they just position themselves right around the portal, wait for somebody to take it. They found No Numbers!
And No Numbers going to driving strike away, back towards Gamehunter, and Murrdurr was waiting. 3 trapped in a ring, though, but there's no follow-up from Elevate here, really. Jermain hasn't been involved in this engagement yet again. And talking about that, the 2 hunters, Tolly, they've not really been in the 5v5s, which is one of the reasons why it's taken so long for towers to die.
That's a big deal, honestly, and that was so unfortunate that Faeles didn't have his ultimate to catch somebody out of position there. No Numbers barely able to escape that cage. Not connecting onto the pole is Murrdurr, but now Jermain is here, and he wants to get the kill.
Kern is nearly dead, still in the jungle. Kero and Repikas were clearing out mid lane, unable to support, and now the support is gone. Driving strike was brutal there onto Jermain, which meant Repi could clean it up. Gamehunter leaps away in time, but MoGoW with the bird bomb himself turns that one around. Slow is good, axe misses. Still beaten down with the kendo stick is MoGoW, but the execute from Repikas will make it a 2-for-1 in favor of New Game Plus.
Oh no, this could be very troublesome for Elevate. They're just too aggressive now. Jermain and MoGoW taking a spill. Murrdurr's about to revive as well, so it's going to be a 5-on-3. This could be the turning point for New Game Plus to get back into the game. The Fire Giant is vulnerable here.
But they're not going for the Fire Giant, Totally. It looks like they want a tier 1 tower in the mid lane instead. 20+ seconds still till Jermain's up. Could they have done the Fire Giant there?
Absolutely, they could have. As long as Gamehunter was in position, they still can. Jermain is dead for 15, MoGoW is dead for 25, and that's exactly what they're going to have to do to get back into this game. No Numbers is going to tank this, while Gamehunter is going to absolutely melt the Fire Giant at about 50% health. Dardez is here to try to contest, but Kero needs to be able to confirm this with I'm a Monster.
Keep an eye on Blizzard. He's getting close, and he's got his ult. Repikas going to zone him away. The Fire Giant goes the way of Elevate. They steal it away somehow. I don't know exactly what went down there, but overall, Fire Giant to Elevate, and now it's New Game Plus in an awkward spot. They're going to have to clean up some of these kills, but Kero's looking to get focused down by Jermain, who picks up one, by MoGoW, who picks up another. Blizzard is chasing down Repikas as well, keeping him pinned. The damage is good, and MoGoW's blink will absorb the sight that would have hit Blizzard's head.
MoGoW wants to dive this tier 2 tower. The shield is going to force out the Aegis. The Chomp will confirm the kill. Murrdurr is dead as well. It's only Gamehunter to defend against 4 people, 3 of them with Fire Giant. 30 minutes into the game, there's no more towers. If they find one Phoenix, this game is over.
What the hell? This game has been back and forward, not necessarily because New Game Plus got a lot of kills in this game, but Elevate just kept hanging back and sitting pretty for such a long time. Eventually, though, a couple of team fights, a couple of mistakes either way, and that is the game. Elevate will pick up this game against New Game Plus, a very important one as well.
Absolutely. This is going to put Elevate at 2-1, and now New Game Plus, they were 2-1 before this game started. Now going to be 2-2 with only one more game of the day to be played.
Oh, is that what it's at? Oh, that's crazy.
I'm pretty sure.
That's crazy overall with how it is, so we should... Well, let's have a look at some of Jermain's plays in that game, because Jermain had an up and down game overall for me. Early on, got beat by Gamehunter, but this turnaround play
that
here...
snipe.
A lot of that was down to Blizzard.
That snipe, though, absolutely confirmed that kill. And this was a great play as well from Jermain, because even though he sacrificed his tower in the process, he was able to find the kill into Gamehunter, as well as get a tier 2 tower of his own later down the line.
We saw him use the Poison Star there in that little engagement, and basically what he did there, for you guys at home to recognize, is as soon as he hit that crit, he knew Poison Star was active, dashes in, knowing Gamehunter's damage is lower, and he's got less mobility.
And that was such a great play from Jermain to get a little bit of a lead back onto his team. Such great plays. Also the Gold Furies on the side of Elevate. That was the major talking point, I feel like, for this game. Being able to confirm, I think it was like all 3 Gold Furies of the game. They found a 4th one later down, but it didn't even matter. They were up 10,000 gold at that point anyway.
Yeah, the Gold Furies did come into play for a little bit of the time as well. Dardez on the Fafnir, which we've not seen too much of Fafnir. We've seen a couple of bans against him, but he's pretty solid overall. Let's be honest, he's still got plenty of damage in these engagements.
He's been able to really control some of these team fights with his presence once he goes into that ultimate form. This one specifically, he actually got a double kill. It was assisted in 2 additional ones, and that was, I think, their first Gold Fury of the game afterwards.
Let's have a look at the standings to see exactly where this all lines up so far. I believe we're only 9 games in now, is that? Or is it 10?
That was game number 9.
I have no clue. It's going to not stop until all these games are done, pretty much. Top of the shop is still Cyclone with 3 wins, Elevator 2-1, Novice also 2-1, New Game Plus 2-1, so it's all still to play for. Cyclone GG, though, looking pretty much guaranteed at this point. Not 100% though, but very close to.
If they find one more win, then they are guaranteed. But so far, so good for the boys from former Season 3 SPL.
Very, very close to the top, though, overall. I don't know who exactly is going to make it out on top. We may find out some more info on that after the break. We'll be back with more of the action.